brand tonight in Brisbane. Thanks for the chat again, Russ. How have you been since our last chat?
Well, obviously, since our last chat, I've had to make quite a lot of changes in my life. Being subject to that kind of sexual intensity meant that my requirements as a man altered. I don't think any man comes away from a meeting with you, Marlena, and continues with life in quite the same way. So it's been good. Like, it's been a shadowy world without the purple light, the ultraviolet light of your charisma and your uniqueness.
As a comedian is to essentially make people laugh, bring joy, happiness and a simple smile. Has there been times where it has been hard to deliver this to your audiences and maintain your immense amount of energy?
Sometimes it is, Marlena, because, like, say, when you go into different cultural areas, like in the UK, for example, there's a sort of quite cynical media climate. So there, I sometimes feel a little bit attacked and defensive. Here in Australia, there's a sort of a completely different cultural attitude. People are very open, and like I sort of sense people want change so much. I'm saying things that people feel, and here it's a different thing. Here I feel like that it makes me feel under like pressure. I think bloody hell, people want change. People are ready. I can't fuck about. You know what I mean? It makes me feel like I've got to grow up and do stuff. At the moment, I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I need like a bit of time. But like you said, like, so yeah, sometimes, I to be honest, I find, like, I don't know how you are with your creativity and your writing. Me, I feel when I'm engaged with comedy, I find it very life-affirming and life-giving. They call it, I think in Vedic tradition, they call it dharma, the work that you do that gives you more life, that doesn't take life from you. And that's sort of like a way you know you're doing the right thing. So generally, comedy makes me feel sort of connected and it's life-giving. Not all of my answers are going to be
open about mental health and your dealings with it. Is that the key for those that struggle with stuff, to be open and upfront about it?
I think being open is integral because I think, in darkness things fester. I think a lot of things that for me personally, a lot of the things that I felt ashamed about and frightened of, I sort of am beginning to recognise are very ordinary things. That's just part of the experience of being human, of being, they're just normal. So yeah, I think communication is absolutely vital because I think that the reality is that there isn't anything for us to be ashamed of, that there is an all-encompassing and defining beauty that we all share in and all part of. More practically, but with you just said, like, since we've met today, you said that I met a friend of yours in Rome and met a friend of yours in London. So I suppose when we find ourselves in unique circumstances, like your unique physical circumstances, having fellowship and fraternity, solidarity with people that can understand must bring you some comfort. I find that around addiction, which is obviously a sort of subtler disease, having sort of community with other addicts, I find helpful and useful. So I'm guessing that you find that too, having sort of, what do I want to say, identification.
Other ways in which one can maintain optimal mental balance and ultimately have a happy and fulfilling life?
Well, I don't know all of the ways like that. The optimal ways for me are, I'm starting to think that the more simple you keep things, the easier life is. I've spent a lot of my life getting very distracted by superficial things. That's sort of partly what the show is about, of thinking that you can reach external solutions, Marlena. And so for me, my life is sort of, I think, becoming about balance and trying to live as much as possible, I don't know, a kind of, I sort of hesitate to use the word normal, but a kind of, like not to get distracted by technology, not to get distracted by cities, and to live, like in a kind of, I don't know, as a world that is not integral. Although obviously, in this situation, technology is absolute blessing. I'm not talking about, I suppose, when my motivations become about external things, acquiring things, what other people think of me, I get into trouble. So I have to sort of take a lot of time to think about those kind of things. What I always enjoy meeting you is that you're a person who obviously has relatively unique challenges, and the dominant thing about your character is still your vivacity, your life force, your willingness to accept the conditions of your life and to be positive within them, even if sometimes you do stray, unfortunately, into perversion. No, Marlena, I've got to be honest. You're not perfect. No angel, are you? You're a bit of a pervert. It can be discussed. No, I mean these are things that have to be addressed. No, we said if we leave things in the dark, then it's a problem. So I think we should, take a moment to be honest about your sexual deviance.
Without fame, your personality doesn't work. Do you enjoy the aspect of fame that allows you to speak on issues otherwise society may overlook?
Yeah, that's one of the best things about fame. I've started to think that it's a utility to give me a voice about things that I care about. One of the things I'm learning, and I'm learning it slowly because it's a really hard lesson, is that the more I'm obsessed with my individual fulfillment, the more unfulfilled I am. When I sort of use, e.g., the utility, the tool of fame to try to create positivity for other people, it makes me feel better, like that. It's almost like on the level of oxycontin or whatever it's called, or endorphins and adrenaline. We're rewarded for our humanity. We're rewarded for community. This is what I mean when before I was saying trying to live a simple life, but to try to find the function that we have to create mythologies and stories that make sense of the challenges that we face. But so often in my life I get trapped into into the negative aspects of like, oh, I want this, I want that, why is this not happening? And then, I meet people, like yourself included, that accept the conditions of life and are able to find positivity and to embrace the beauty of life and the uniqueness of those situations. So for me, the part of the uniqueness of my situation is I'm famous, so I can use that shit for good. So I do like that. I do. I'm still just learning. I'm still on the foothills of that particular mountain range. Excuse me, it's probably a problem.